Of course, here is a fully rephrased version of your Reddit confession retold, with fresh language, expanded slightly for rhythm and emotional clarity, while preserving every detail, tone, and the full weight of the original narrative. Nothing has been omitted. Everything has been honored, and the length has only increased minimally to enhance flow and depth. My fiancée rolled her eyes. Wow, she said, voice dripping with condescension. So jealous over a few emojis? When I showed her the texts she'd been exchanging with her personal trainer, I didn't flinch. I just looked her dead in the eye and said, "Not jealous, Chloe. Just taking notes." Now, his wife Vanessa is the one who's not taking it well. And after seeing the screenshots I sent her anonymously, she's the one begging me for answers. Though not for long. Because now, ironically, Chloe is the one at my door, pleading for a place to stay. I've always believed in traditional roles. I know that's not a popular stance these days, but it's how I was raised. A man provides, protects, and builds a safe, stable home. A woman nurtures that home and the family within it. That wasn't just ideology to me. It was the blueprint for the life I wanted. When I met my fiancée, Chloe, I thought we shared that same foundation. Her family was deeply religious pillars of their local church community. Her father, Pastor Thompson, delivered a sermon every Sunday with the kind of gravitas that made people lean forward in their pews. They cared above all else about appearances, reputation, and the sanctity of a traditional family unit. Chloe had no interest in a career. She told me outright she wanted to be a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. I was more than happy with that. In fact, I welcomed it. I own a logistics and supply chain consultancy, a business I built from nothing. It's successful, stable, and affords us a very comfortable life. I gave Chloe everything, a beautiful home, my home, but when I wanted her to make her own, a luxury car, and a credit card with a limit so high she never had to think about it. In return, I expected loyalty, respect, and a true partner, someone who was building our future with me, not just enjoying the fruits of my labor while plotting an exit. For 2 years, I believe that's exactly what I had. The first crack in that foundation appeared about 6 months ago, disguised as self-improvement. Chloe decided she wanted to get in shape for the wedding and hired a personal trainer at an upscale gym. His name was Marco. He was exactly what you'd imagine. Chiseled jaw, perfect teeth, muscles sculpted like marble, and a brand of motivational charm that always struck me as slick, rehearsed, and deeply insincere. At first, it seemed harmless, but soon she started spending more and more time at the gym, coming home late, flushed with a kind of energy that had nothing to do with squats or deadlifts. She talked about him constantly. Marco said my form is perfect. Marco thinks I should try this new protein powder. Marco says I'm making incredible progress. It was always Marco. Marco, Marco, Marco. I'm not a jealous man, but I am an observant one. I noticed how she'd angle her phone away from me at night, the secretive little smiles that flickered across her face while texting, the way her laughter changed, softer, intimate, when her screen lit up. The breaking point came on a Saturday afternoon. We were on the couch, planning our honeymoon. I had my laptop open, showing her a luxury resort in Bora Bora white sand, overwater bungalows, the whole dream. She was supposed to be looking at it with me. Instead, her eyes were glued to her phone. I watched as she typed a quick message, then let out a small, private giggle. "What's so funny?" I asked, keeping my voice light. She jumped, startled. "Oh, nothing. Just a meme a friend sent me." A few minutes later, I went to the kitchen for a drink. My iPad synced to her phone for shared calendars and convenience, was sitting on the counter. As I poured my water, the screen lit up with an Instagram notification. It was from Marco. I knew I shouldn't look, but I also knew I had to. I opened the app. It wasn't just one message. It was weeks' worth of conversation detailed, intimate, and dripping with flirtation. Heart emojis, fire emojis, compliments that crossed every professional boundary. He called her Angel. She called him my handsome beast. But it was the most recent exchange, the one sent just moments before, that turned my blood to ice. Marco, thinking about you in that little black dress from the other night. Can't stop. Chloe, stop. You're going to get me in trouble. Marco, is the big man boring you with wedding talk again? Chloe, you have no idea. At least the honeymoon will be nice. Maybe you can come visit me there. Marco, just say the word, Angel. I'll be on the next flight. I stood in my kitchen, gripping the cool marble countertop, like it was the only thing keeping me from collapsing. This wasn't just flirting. This was a full-blown emotional affair, carefully cultivated, deeply disrespectful, and brazenly planned. She was sitting in my living room, living off my money, while fantasizing about running away with another man during our honeymoon. I walked back to the couch and sat down, my face a mask of calm. I waited. 10 minutes later, her phone buzzed again. She smiled as she read the message. I leaned over, voice steady. Is that Marco? Her face went pale. What? No. Why would you even ask that? I picked up the iPad from the coffee table, opened the message thread, and turned the screen toward her. Because of this, I said. She stared at it, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Panic flared in her eyes, then, almost instantly, twisted into indignation. The classic move of the guilty, attack the accuser. She rolled her eyes and let out an exasperated sigh. Wow. So, you're going through my private messages now? I can't believe this. Are you seriously this jealous over a few stupid emojis? The dismissiveness, the sheer, breathtaking audacity of her gaslighting it was the final confirmation. She felt no remorse, only irritation that she'd been caught. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't yell. I just looked at her, then at the screen, then back at her. A cold, quiet resolve settled over me like armor. Not jealous, Chloe, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Just taking notes. She scoffed. Whatever. You're being a psycho. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. She thought she was punishing me, leaving me alone to stew in my so-called jealousy. She had no idea she'd just handed me the blueprint for her downfall. Update 1. The second that door slammed shut, I went into mission mode. Chloe's fatal mistake was believing her own narrative, that I was a simple, predictable man who could be managed with a little manufactured drama and eye-rolling. She had no idea that the same mind that designs and executes complex logistical strategies for multi-million-dollar corporations was now laser-focused on a single personal objective, her complete and total social demolition. My goal wasn't to hurt her. It was to let her actions and Marco's deliver consequences directly to the one place she and her family felt safest, their pristine, unassailable reputation. First, I needed to understand my real enemy, not Chloe, but Marco. And more importantly, his wife. I spent an hour digging through Marco's social media. His profile was public, a shrine to his own ego. Dozens of shirtless gym selfies, motivational quotes, and crucially, photos with his wife, Vanessa. She was a fitness competitor with an unnervingly intense gaze and a physique that looked like it had been carved from stone. Her own profile told an even clearer story. She co-owned the gym. Her bio read, CEO of Marco's biggest fan club. Don't test me. Her posts were filled with declarations about loyalty, couple goals, and thinly veiled warnings to other women to stay away from her husband. Chloe had once described her to me as a possessive, crazy psycho. Perfect. I created a new, anonymous Instagram account blank profile picture, generic username. Then, I crafted my opening move. I couldn't just dump the screenshots on her. That would be too crude. She might dismiss it as a prank or fake. No, I needed to bait the hook. Make her ask for the proof. I needed her to become an active participant in her husband's unraveling. I sent her a single message. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I think you deserve to know the truth about what your husband does with his female clients. I hit send and waited. Less than 5 minutes later, she replied, Vanessa, who is this? What are you talking about? Me. I'm a member at your gym. I've seen things, heard things. He's not respectful of your marriage. Vanessa. Give me a name or I'm blocking you. Me. Chloe Thompson. Your husband calls her his angel. He's planning to meet her during her honeymoon. The three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. She was hooked. Vanessa. You're lying. Show me proof. This was the moment. I didn't send everything at once. I sent just one screenshot. The one where Chloe wrote, maybe you can come visit me there. Damning, but just vague enough to be denied. Her reply was instant. Vanessa, this is nothing, a joke. Girls say stupid things. So, I twisted the knife deliberately, misrepresenting the context to make it personal for her. Mio, is it a joke when he says he can't stop thinking about her in that black dress? Is it a joke when he calls his own fiancé the big man who's boring her? I made it sound like Marco was the one engaged and that he was mocking his own relationship with Vanessa. I needed her to feel personally mocked, humiliated, betrayed. Vanessa, what are you talking about? Show me. I sent the next screenshot, the one with the black dress comment and the big man line. The trap snapped shut. Vanessa, he said that about me. Wait, I don't know who he was talking about. I just know he was saying it to Chloe. There's more, a lot more, weeks of it. Me, send it to me. Send me everything, now. I did. I sent the entire thread, every flirty message, every emoji, every coded promise. And as I sent them, I added my own commentary, carefully chosen words to pour gasoline on the fire. Me. She lives with him, the big man, her fiancé. She's the daughter of Pastor Thompson from the community church. Can you believe the hypocrisy? They laugh about him behind his back. She's using his money to pay for her sessions with your husband. I feel so sorry for her fiancé and for you. You both deserve better than these two. I watched as the scene receipts appeared under each message. I had just handed a volatile, fiercely loyal woman a nuclear bomb and aimed her straight at the heart of the Thompson family's greatest treasure, their reputation. Her final message came an hour later, not a question, but a declaration. Vanessa, thank you, I know where she lives. I blocked the account and deleted it. My direct role was done. Now I just had to wait for the shockwave. Update 2. The demolition was scheduled for Sunday afternoon. I knew this because the Thompsons hosted a post-church luncheon every week, a neighborhood institution attended by the church's most devout and influential members. It was the perfect stage for the performance about to unfold. I spent Sunday morning in grim anticipation. I went for a long run, cleaned the house, tried to distract myself from the explosion I'd engineered. Chloe had been staying with her parents since our fight. She'd sent a few half-hearted apology texts. I'm sorry you're upset. Can we talk? Which I ignored. She still thought this was about jealousy, that I'd cool down, that she could smooth it over with a pout and a promise. At 1:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. It was one of Chloe's younger cousins, the only one who'd ever been kind to me. Cousin, OMG, you're not going to believe what's happening at my aunt's house. It's insane. I called her immediately. Chaos erupted through the speaker, shouting, glass shattering, a woman's voice raw with fury. What's going on? I asked. This crazy woman just showed up, my cousin whispered, panicked. She's screaming about Chloe and some guy named Marco. She's reading their texts out loud on the front lawn. She even read your name, said you're the fiancé they're laughing at. Pastor Thompson's trying to get her to leave, but she won't budge. She just threw a brick through their living room window. My plan had worked better than I'd ever imagined. Vanessa wasn't just confronting them. She was staging a public execution of their reputation. I got in my car and drove to their neighborhood. I didn't go to the house. I parked a block away with a clear view of the spectacle. Dozens of neighbors were already outside, phones raised, filming. Vanessa stood in the middle of the Thompsons' immaculate lawn like a warrior queen, wild-eyed and holding a stack of printed screenshots like battle flags. "This is your pastor's daughter," she screamed. "This is the woman you all look up to, a homewrecker, a cheat. She's trying to steal my husband. She's planning a honeymoon with him while she's engaged to another man." Pastor Thompson, face pale and sweating, tried to reason with her. "Ma'am, please, let's discuss this privately. You're making a scene." "I want to make a scene," Vanessa roared. "I want everyone to know what kind of family you really are. All pious and perfect on Sunday, but you're raising a snake in your own home." Chloe was nowhere to be seen, probably hiding inside, listening as her carefully curated world was torn apart, brick by literal brick. The police arrived minutes later. They eventually calmed Vanessa down and escorted her away, but not before she'd delivered a 45-minute sermon of her own, laced with profanity, accusations, and the unfiltered truth of her husband's betrayal and Chloe's complicity. I watched the police car drive off. The crowd slowly dispersed, whispering. The Thompson house stood silent window, shattered, reputation in ruins. The war was over. The fallout had just begun. Final update. It's been 4 months since the public demolition. The consequences have unfolded like dominoes, methodically dismantling every pillar of Chloe's privileged, sheltered life. First came the destruction of her family's reputation. Videos of Vanessa's outburst spread across local social media within hours. The scandal, Pastor Thompson's cheating daughter, became the biggest controversy their church had ever seen. The following Sunday, his sermon was delivered to a half-empty sanctuary. The week after, the church elders asked him to take a leave of absence. He hasn't returned to the pulpit since. The shame was too much for her parents, and they directed all their fury at its source, Chloe. According to her cousin, my reluctant but reliable informant, the week after the incident was a living hell for her. Her father, who'd never raised his voice to her, told her she'd ruined their family. Her mother, whose entire identity was wrapped up in her church status, said she couldn't even look at her. They gave her an ultimatum: 1 week to find somewhere else to live. They were cutting her off completely. They were ashamed of her and wanted her out of their lives until she could learn to live like a proper Christian woman. For the first time in her life, Chloe was truly on her own, and she had no idea how to survive. No job, no savings, no real-world skills. She called her bridesmaids, her so-called best friends. They all made excuses. No one wanted to be linked to the scandal. No one wanted Vanessa showing up at their door, now that she was in the middle of a messy, public divorce from Marco. Chloe ran out of options, ran out of money. Last I heard, she'd been living out of her car for days, showering at the gym, surviving on fast food. Then, last night, the inevitable happened. At around 10 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. It was her. She looked thin, exhausted, hollowed out. The confident, entitled Chloe was gone, replaced by a ghost. I opened the door. She stood there silent for a long moment. Then, voice cracking, "Mark, can I please come in?" "No," I said. She started to cry real desperate sobs. "Please," she begged. "I have nowhere to go. My parents kicked me out. My friends won't talk to me. I have no money. I'll get a job. I'll pay you back. I'll do anything. I need a place to stay." I looked at the woman who'd rolled her eyes at my pain, who'd called me jealous and psycho for uncovering her betrayal, who'd been willing to torch our future for a cheap thrill with a gym bro. "That sounds like a stressful situation for you, Chloe," I said, my voice flat, empty of warmth. I let the words hang, echoing her own dismissiveness back at her. "But you're a grown woman. You need to stand on your own 2 feet. Her face crumpled as she recognized her own words thrown back like a mirror. "Tell your parents to figure it out," I added, my voice hardening. "Or Marco. Or any of the friends who thought your little game was so funny. But don't bring your problems to my door. It's not my responsibility." I closed the door on her sobbing, leaving her alone on my porch, standing in the wreckage of the life she'd so carelessly set on fire. My revenge was never about jealousy. It was about accountability, and I had simply taken notes and delivered the final grade. You're watching Reddit Confessions.